Hey y'all, welcome back to Verbal Tea. I'm Globe, your host, and this is the Verbal Tea podcast where we focus more on our inner voices than the voices around us. As you know, we explore topics through journal entries, and for our season 2 premiere, we are coming in hot, we're coming in heavy, and covering fatherhood.
I'm Peppy.
Today, I have an amazing guest. They're all amazing, okay? So just get used to me saying that. We have another amazing guest, and this person I've gotten to watch grow up and become a father, and they are so artistic and so creative. And you guys already know how I feel about creatives being parents. They're just special. We just do it different, okay? But they are a graphic designer, a real estate agent, and a childhood friend, and one loyal audience member of the Tea Party. I am so excited to introduce to you RC.
Hello there, my dear friend.
Hi. Wow. Look at this full circle. So,
Mhm.
you guys, I have been journaling all my life. RC has been my friend for since I was a kid. He convinced me that I could try to rap.
Absolutely, yes, I did.
He convinced me I could try to rap, which actually helped him evolve as a artist as well because he started making metaphorical songs and music. Do you remember that?
I'll never forget. Still listen to myself to this day.
Oh man, you just went to another level. And then what else? Oh my gosh, you designed my blog that I
I
abandoned.
did.
Yeah.
I did. I still have it favorited on my computer, and it still pops up. I'll go and see that it's still up there. I'm like, it's not taken down. It's still there. I can still see my graphics. They look amazing still.
You're the one that has me obsessed with silhouettes. Even my logo for burlesque is a silhouette. It's just a cool concept.
Hmm.
But yes, we go way back. And before we get into it, I'm going to let him tell a little bit about himself. So, what do you want the audience to know about you before we get into this?
Okay. Hello, people. My name is RC. Um, The most important thing about me is I'm just a creative. I used to say I'm a graphic designer, I'm a photographer, I can paint, I used to draw, I used to make music, I used to be a videographer. It was a lot of different things, but I kind of summed it up over the years. I'm a creative. Anything that involves me creating something, getting to give, some type of product to somebody that, that I use my skill to give them and make them happy. That's me. I want to create. I want to make people happy. I want to leave an impression. I'm also a father of a beautiful 4-year-old. I kept a picture right here for this. This is us right
Oh,
here. Wait, you can't see it. Can you see it?
yes, I
That's
can
us.
see it now.
Wait, that's my little 4-year-old right there. That's my life right there. Um, Things changed when she came around. I knew I always wanted to be a dad, but when she came around, that's when life kind of shifted in many different ways that I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, that's my life right there. But that's me. I'm a creative. I'm a dad. I'm me.
Yes, a lifelong creative. I remember I can go down memory lane because I've known this person almost all my cognizant life. I
Yeah.
remember the rubber band. Do you remember the rubber band necklace?
Wow. The Soldier Boy chain. Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Talk about it.
yes. That was a full-blown hustle for you. People love those.
Absolutely. Again, that was another form of creating.
Hmm.
I seen it as a thing, starting with Soldier Boy, and I just wanted to try it. Hey, I think I can create this. I did it. And I'm like, oh, what if I get different color rubber bands? Oh, because I think he just had like a brown one, like regular brown rubber
Hmm.
bands. Then I bought a pack of color rubber bands. I wanted to create that. People liked it. Started. I don't know. I think I've sold a few, but a lot of them I just kept for myself and then I would give them away. But
Hmm.
it was just a way of me creating, and that's what I wanted to do. So yes, that was a phase. I still have many pictures of it. I'll break out the pictures, but we're not going to get all there. But I have all that still.
We might just
Memories,
have to
good
do
days.
like a promo reel of just all of those. I remember those. I was like, That is so creative. How did he even do
All
that?
my creative moments. Yes. It's all about creating for me.
Of course. And then just like the vlog, you were so excited to support this. You're always in the comments, you're always just sending love to the show. So I'm so glad to have you on. I knew early on, before season 2 was even fully drafted, that I wanted you on for this topic.
Hmm. I've been waiting for this.
Yes, months.
Yeah. And it's a lot of things I could talk about. Like when I watched the episodes, I'm like, oh, I probably could have helped with that. Or not helped with that, but added to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at this point in life, this was the topic. And I think you knew before I knew it that when you asked me about it, I'm like, yes, this is the one thing I can talk about more than anything else right now in life.
Yes, I mean, that's apparently that's my superpower. I know what people
Mm-hmm.
can write
Yeah,
about.
that's cool.
But I'm so happy to have you on. Before we get into the prompt, I ask every person on the show this. What is your relationship with journaling right now?
So it's not as much as what it used to be, but and I also never journaled maybe the traditional way, like how you may do it. Like early on, my way of journaling was writing music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's even to this day when I go back and listen to old music, even stuff I didn't put out, I can tell I was writing to myself. And I can go back and listen and say, okay, this is what I was going through. I spoke about specific things, specific moments, specific items I may have had, specific dates, people, everything was came from somewhere. So when I would write those songs, even if it wasn't a full on song, like a catchy type song, because I didn't make that many catchy songs. It was more of me just speaking my truth. And so that was my way of journaling. And then sometimes, like since then, I got stopped making music over 10 years ago, but I would still find myself writing, like journaling in a way about whatever I'm going through. Like whenever hard times would come around in life, I would, turn to my notes. That's where I write at, in my notes, in my phone. But I would write how I was feeling about the situation because I've never been good at speaking out loud, but I can always think and write it down and get it exactly how I wanted it. So that was my idea of journaling, was taking my thoughts, putting them against rhyming words, and it spits out a song. That was
Mm-hmm.
just my way of journaling. And so, but yeah, like as of recently, it hasn't been as much. I honestly say since I became a parent, I haven't done it as much. But it's if you still look through my notes in my phone, it's still it's still there. Like I have everything there. I still write down, even if I'm just jotting down a few things. Like if I just have a thought or an idea, how I'm feeling, I'll just write it down. And I mean, if that counts as a journal entry, it does. I don't know exactly how it works, but that's how I do it. If I have a thought, I'll write it down. And yeah, so I have a relationship with some type of journaling. I just don't know if it's the traditional way, if there is a traditional way of journaling.
I think it counts. I mean, there are people who aren't literate who still document their thoughts in different ways, with their in an artistic way, visual art. All I think of journaling is like a scrapbook of your thoughts that you were just in a space with just you and your thoughts, and you've documented that however you do.
Hmm.
Now, for me, as you know, I just love to write. So for me, that's just the standard way in my mind. But I see it with my kids growing up. My daughter can write now, and so she's trying to do
Hmm.
that. But I got to see her document how she feels or where she's at, what she's obsessed with at the moment, through the crafts she built or through what she painted. And that definitely counts as journaling.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, so we're already getting into parenthood because parenting really is a game changer. It opens up this whole world, and you think you understand that it's going to change your life. You think you understand it's going to change your world and how you view things, but you really have no idea until you're blessed to be responsible for someone else,
A whole human being.
a whole human being, and you get to just watch them grow. So this is about you. So let me just go back and because I could talk about my kids all day.
Oh,
I gave you the prompt, and let me see. The prompts I gave you, what I gave you two prompts, right?
yeah.
So before I list them, which one did you spend the most time writing on?
Uh, how I wrote it down. Hold on. I think it was how it changed my life,
Mm,
I believe, right? Hold on, let me go back into my notes. Sorry. Should have had this, but I didn't. Um, the one I spent the most time on was how has being a father changed your life?
mm,
That one I kind of went on. That one was an easier question. The other one I
mhm,
spent, yeah.
mhm.
But so you want to know my answer for that?
I would love to know your answer to that.
Of course you would. That's what we're here for, right?
Yes.
So, um, that's one of those questions where you can answer it a lot of different ways. But for me, the one thing that I always come back to is it changed my life and it taught me different things. It's an education. It's an educational thing. So really, it helped me understand patience a little bit better. That's it. That's where it changed my life at. Because I've always been a patient person, but it taught me patience in a different way. You know, because I feel like in life you want to be patient with things. You don't want to lead with emotion all the time. And sometimes you may just want to give up on certain things in a way. Not completely give up, but when it comes to a child in difficult times, it's not as easy as just walking away from it. You can't just walk away from your child.
No.
You got to sit there. Well, in the early stages, you can't. Communication obviously isn't a thing when they're younger. Before communication is, how they speak. But like right now, I have a 4-year-old. She's speaking, and we can have conversations now. But I find myself, trying to figure out when I should explain things, when things don't need to be explained. 'Cause I know I've seen sometimes with other people where they'll kind of over explain things when it's not needed. You know what I mean? If it to
Hmm.
me, honestly, when it comes to something like if she's whining about something that's not a big deal, you know what I mean? Or something that's not as important, I should say. I'm not going to dwell on why. I'm not going to over communicate to her why it's not that big of a deal, or how do I put this? It's hard to explain, but I don't know. I don't when it comes to important things like, hey, you're upset because I told you you can't do this. Let me tell you why you shouldn't be, or I'm really trying to figure this out, but I'm not getting it right.
That's parenting though.
But
Parenting is improv. Like you.
yeah. Well, I'm not. We'll go past that. But basically, it taught me patience. Most importantly, it taught me love in a different way.
Mm,
Because we've been in relationships with different people, we have love for friends and family, but it teaches you love in a different way, and it's really hard to explain, right? And it also taught me, or it showed me what I think my love would look like on somebody else.
oof.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I'll explain. So my love language is touch and words of affirmation. Touch being number one. So my daughter, she's a daddy's girl, and I show her my love the only way I know how, right? And she's 4 now. She picks up on different things, and she's starting to she's starting to show her emotion with touch the same way I would. So I'll tell you this one. It's not even really a story, but I remember years ago, maybe she had to be 1, maybe 2. Um, I think she fell asleep on my bed, and I think I was doing something late at night, ended up falling asleep on the floor. It happens. I'd be tired. So I fell asleep on the floor, and I guess she woke up in the middle of the night while I was still there, and I woke up kind of startled because I just felt like somebody touched me. and I
Mhm.
like get up, and she's kind of just like leaning on me like this. Like she's not talking yet. I mean, she can say words, but she kind of just like leaning on me, and she like put her head on me,
Oh.
like she just wanted to be next to me, whatever, right? And so that was before words were said because she wasn't speaking. But like later on in life, sometimes she won't really be saying it. Like I'll just be on my computer at the desk or something like that, and she could be on the bed or in the living room watching something. But every now and then she'll just come in and she'll just like crawl up in my arms and kind of just like lay with me. She won't really say much. She'll just like lay in my arms or put her head on me, or she'll just like touch my face or my beard or something like that. And then she'll just get up and go.
Oh
And
my
that's like,
gosh.
that's always been a thing for me. Like, I don't always have the right words to say, but if I love you, sometimes I won't know what to say, but I'll just come near. I'll come and sit near you, be in your
Mm.
presence. I may just like touch your arm or touch your leg, or just look at you. And I'm starting to see her do those exact same things. And I'm like, wow, is this what it would feel like? Is this the feeling that I give other people? Because it warms me. Like again, she doesn't always have to say something. Like now she's starting to say certain things. Like I remember the other day, or not other day, maybe a couple months ago, she said we were just talking. We were in the car, and she was like, "You're the best daddy ever," or something like that. And that was her first time ever saying something like that. I'm just like, wow. You think about those kind of things, but like when you first have a child, like you want to hear those type of things, but I'm not gonna tell her to, hey, tell me this. Like I never told
Right.
her to say that, but she naturally just said it. And even before she was able to say that, she would show me just physically, like, hey, I'm here. I'm glad you're near me. That's what I get when she comes by and just kind of like just touches my face or just looks at me and smiles or just hugs me and then walks away. Because that's what I would do. So I'm starting to see that. Um, but what do you think about that so far?
That
You know what
I
I mean
never
by that?
Yeah, I never thought about that, but you do because they mirror your behavior. And I always think about all of the behavior I want to model for them, but I've never thought, oh yeah, the way that I love, they reflect that. That is how they love because that's the first we teach them how. And I never thought of it on the level that you did. That was never
Yeah.
even a real thought. Like I know every behavior I want to model, but I never thought even our love languages, they'll display
Hmm.
they love us the same way.
Yeah. And I think they can display it the same way, or it could be, I feel like it could possibly become a trauma if it's not the right way.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is, like, I think about, like, should I be, should I stay the exact same way that I am? Because what if something happens to me and she's almost dependent on my love language
Mm.
later in life? And what if she doesn't receives it and it causes some type of issue? I've thought about that. I don't know how big of a deal that could be. She's still really young. I don't know if it affect her fully, but I think about everything. Like, should I be the way that I am? But I always dial back and say, no, no, I'm gonna give her love. That's what I have to give. I'm gonna give it to her anyway. But I would hope it wouldn't turn into a trauma. I hope I can balance out, the way I give her the love. Because I know I am very loving, but I can be strict at times because I don't want certain habits to grow. She'll see things on shows, and um, I will have to not be that same lenient parent all the time. And a lot of times I will get frustrated, and I'll try not to show it, but I'll still always try to, you know, give her love, even if I have to make her cry sometimes. I feel like it's important to make your kid cry sometimes.
What?
People
Okay, hot
people look at me
take.
crazy when I say that, but I feel like sometimes if a point isn't coming across the right way to them, I feel like sometimes you have to, you know, sometimes they have to feel something. Not like I'm not talking about hitting them or talking down on them, but like if you can't, like if you wanted to have candy or something, like no, you can't have candy. And why can't I have candy? You didn't have your dinner yet. You shouldn't be eating all these sweets. Just little things like that. Like it's something. It's not really anything to argue about. You know what I mean? So if you want to cause a fit about that, I'm gonna let you cry about that because you're not always gonna have it your way, and I'm not gonna like cradle you like, oh no, I'm so sorry. It's just you shouldn't have candy all the time. It's no, like trying to make it trying to make her seem like I'm a bad person for saying no, you can't have it your way for certain things. You know what I mean,
Mm.
like that. So I'll allow you. Like it's okay. You can cry about that. This is not something that is a real issue that I believe I need to cradle you for. You know what I mean? So yeah. So
Okay,
yeah.
with that context, okay. Now I am the over-explaining parent.
Hmm.
So, and I
Talk to
do
me.
what?
No, I said talk to me.
I am. I mean, I can't judge your methods. I can't critique those at all. I know that I over-explain things, and my daughter is 5 now, and she'll be like, "Okay, mom, okay, I get it." And but I think she could get it easily because I've been over explaining to her forever. Like she was 2 having full conversations with adults. And I think that's why. So when she does
Yeah.
something, when she makes mistakes now, she knows she made a mistake. I can just start to tell her and she's already connected the dots. But I do think that sometimes less is more, you know.
Yeah.
Um
That's really what it
mhm,
is because the way you just was wording it just now, like, because I do feel like I over explain the things that need to be explained.
mhm.
When she's having certain emotions, I will try to over explain something. I wouldn't say over explain, but try to make sure that she comprehends what I'm telling her. But yeah, sometimes less is more in certain situations that I don't feel like she needs to, have an over explanation on. So yeah, so this whole parenting thing is a balancing act. It's
Ugh.
crazy. It'll drive you crazy
It's
in a
ser
good way.
it's acrobatics, truly, you have to be so versatile, and it tells on yourself. I hear her explain things to her brother now, and I'm like, "That's all on me," and my husband will look at me like, "You know she get that from you, right?" I'm like, "Yeah."
There it is.
But okay, that I love the way that you describe that. When you look at your kid, you get to see what your love looks like. Like you get to see how receiving your love feels. I did want to revisit a question that you had about if you worry that loving that way may be limiting or traumatizing. I don't think it'll be traumatizing, but I will say that as they grow up, it is important that we are mindful that maybe their love languages may be a little bit different as they evolve. I know for me, my mother's all acts of service, no words, no physical touch, you know. And
I
as I
feel
grew
it.
older, that was something I needed and didn't, pursue in the healthiest of ways. So I think as they get older, trying to be cognizant of that, but there's no way to tell when they're super young because right now they're just modeling what we do. But I do try to peep that because my daughter is
Mhm.
super physical, and I'm not like I need it, but I'm not naturally that way. And so I've been trying to get used to more cuddles, get used to more hugs. We count them 12 a day. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy because I thought about that for myself a lot because I don't come from physical touch and words of affirmation either.
Hmm.
Like those are probably the two things that I think I never received early on. So it's weird. Well, not weird because I kind of figured it out, I believe. Um, to me, I feel like those are my love languages because as I got older, like let's say like words of affirmation or something as simple as somebody saying that I love you. Like I never
Hmm.
really heard that growing up. That was what? Who? Me? You love me? No, I never heard that growing up. So when I got started getting older, I started having friends, you know, relationships. I started to feel what that was kind of like for somebody to like actually somebody you actually care about and they care about you to say, "Oh, I love you. I appreciate you." That started feeling good, and I'm just like, "Wow." And the same thing with like touch. Like I know early on, I started receiving hugs from like my cousins, like my aunt, like my aunt Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was one who used to always give me hugs when I was younger. And I'm like, this feels good, you know? Like I never got that, you know, like my mom or dad really. I mean, I did, but not in the same type of way. So when I used to get them, like, wow, this feels good. And then back to the, you know, like the I love you or I care about you, like hearing somebody give you those affirmations, it felt good to me. And when I started having my own relationships or friends, like to this day, it's just like it's important for me to have my friends let them know that, you know, I care about them, I love them, I appreciate them. If I'm not making you smile or making you feel good about yourself after we have a conversation, then I'm gonna feel like I didn't do my friendly duties. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
those are big to me, and yeah. So that I think from not receiving those type of things as a kid, it kind of made me want them more as I grew older. Now I make sure my baby, she knows, she knows I
Yep.
love her.
That makes sense. I read something once that said your top love languages are what you feel you didn't receive as a child. So
That makes sense.
there may be some truth to that now that you say that. And yeah, but for me, I still need I still need the same things because that's just like my attachment. But I mean, I need it all. Like all five love
Yeah,
languages are my love languages. But what I default to is I am going to, pour some encouragement into you. And if there's anything I can do for you, I am a sucker. I'm going to do it. So
yeah.
that's me. Like I trick out on whoever I love. It's a thing I'm working on.
No, it's all right. Keep doing it. Keep giving. Keep giving. We are givers at heart, and that's all right.
I mean, even if things didn't turn out long, it was still a good journey for me. Like it still fulfilled whatever part of me needed to be fulfilled. So I have no regrets about anything I've ever given.
Hmm. And that is the journey to love.
Oh my gosh. Insider.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good song. You just had that
Hmm.
was like an aha moment for you.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So, audience, we are referring to a song that he wrote that is just this whole metaphor about a journey to love, but it's like a road. It's like a journal entry in poetic form with the most beautiful beat behind it.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
That's again, that was I mean, around that time period was probably when I started writing more personal stuff. And like I remember I wanted to write music, write songs, I should say.
Hmm.
And then in school, you know, we used to do poetry, and I used to write poetry, like raps.
Hmm.
But then when I would, you know, I don't remember what type of classes poetry used to be in. I don't know if it was in English classes or what, but in the classes, they would teach you the format of how, you know, poetry goes, and or sonnets, or
Hmm.
basically how they would word everything and how they would speak in metaphors and all these twisted ways and twisted meanings. And so I took that and I started applying that to myself and how I would write. And then songs came out of it. And that's when I started writing more about, you know, my own life and my own feelings and what I was thinking about. And yeah, definitely made some masterpieces, you know?
Oof, definitely motivating yourself in college, just all of it. I remember it like it's yesterday. I did want to just touch on that real quick, you guys. Y'all know I'm all over the place, but I do want to say that it is a common thing I'm seeing with my guests when they are men and we talk about relationship with journaling, they often refer to music. It's
Hmm.
definitely something worth exploring and just acknowledging more. Music is the common outlet for you guys.
Absolutely. Good or bad. Good moments, I'm gonna turn to music. Bad moments, I'm gonna really turn to music.
Really turn to
So,
music. That's why,
hmm
that's like the common trope. If you see a rapper just looking really scruffy, something
hmm
good is about to come out. Like, he's about to drop something really good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, the second question I want to get to it because I know that was a really good question as well. Um, I think it was what do you hope your daughter understands about you as a father?
I'm not gonna lie, that one gave me some trouble. I really was sitting and thinking about that. I had some answers, but I didn't fully. I wanted to get more insight on that one, to be honest. But from what I got out of that, what I wanted her to know was, um, like I want her to know that she was brought onto this earth on purpose. It wasn't a mistake. Like she was in. I knew I was gonna have her for many years, even before she was born, and I had her name written in my phone notes.
Mm.
Like I think it was 5 years before she was born. I screenshotted it in my notes, but like she wasn't a mistake. Before me and her mother even started dating, I told her I want to have a kid. She's gonna be a girl, and this is gonna be her name. I told her before we even officially started dating. Why would you bring up kids so early on in a relationship? It's kind of like a non-negotiable. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I knew I always wanted to have a child or kids. So I just wanted to know that, she was brought here for a reason. Um, I want her to know that um, I am her and she is me. I don't know. Like the more I think about it, it's like, can I verbally tell her this kind of stuff? I feel like some things is hard for me to put in words. And that was when I seen that question, I would look at it, I'll write a little note to it and try to like explain it, but it wasn't coming out right. Like I just wanted to know, that I was there. I was present. She was my focal point. You know what I mean? I wanted to know that love was always there. I wanted to know um that she can actually, this is gonna tie into something else. Like I'm gonna steer away for a second. So I want to know that she can do and be anything, right? And I want to say something about that because I thought about it. So, and she said the other day. So early on, I always knew I wanted to instill confidence in her, right?
Mm.
Believe that she can do anything and everything, right? So I remember when she first started speaking well, I would tell her, like whenever she would get frustrated, I'm like, no, you don't have to be upset. You can do it. You can do anything. I'm like, do you hear me? You can literally do anything. I used to always tell her that. She wouldn't really, I don't think she grasped it at first, but I would always just tell her, right? And then I feel like I probably just wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't saying it as much for a while. And something else came up like a couple weeks ago, and she was trying to do something. I can't remember what it was. I don't even think it was anything crazy, but um, I'm like, you can do it. She was like, yeah. She was like, because I can do it now. She's like, I can do anything, right? I'm like, yes, 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 you can, right? And so, I want her to know those type of things. Like I never wanted to put my fears on her.
Mm.
I never believed that I can do anything, but I always tried to. You know what I mean? I was never told that I can do any and everything. But whether I, whether she believes it or not, I want her to grow up believing it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
if right now she's not going to comprehend a lot of the stuff that I'm telling her, but she'll remember it. That's the thing
Mhm.
about kids. They're not going to comprehend half of the stuff they're saying or they're hearing, but they'll remember it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like to that same point, in that same sentence where she said I can do anything, the line after that was because I'm tall. Because
Mm.
I always say she's a big girl and she's getting taller. I'm like, yeah, you're getting big, you're getting tall. So when she said that, she's like, "Yeah, I can do anything because I'm tall." She doesn't know why she's saying it. She just knows that I told her that. So
Mhm.
I want her to grow up just knowing that in the back of her head, like I can do anything. Like whenever something, you know, challenging comes up, I want her a little voice my voice in the back of her head. You can do anything, and I want her to use that, as something that could help her get through those tough times. So yeah, but yeah, that was I don't even know if that answered the question fully because I didn't even I only had notes for that. I didn't get a full on entry about that, but um, I don't know. What do you think?
That there is no wrong answer to that. For me, I've been asking myself that for years. And every year that I revisit it, my daughter's birthday is next week. Every year that I revisit it, it's different. Like the more I become deeper into this journey of motherhood, what I want my child to understand about me as a mother it changes, it evolves. So it's a question I think that every parent should always ask themselves, what is it that you want your child to understand about you as their parent, because it's going to change. Like as you guys grow together, I do think it evolves, and it really keeps me centered and keeps me centered and
Mm-hmm.
intentional with parenting, because I think we're in the honeymoon stage of parenting since our kids are under 10.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I feel as they get older, it can be like, hey, I've done all this for you, I've provided for you, I've shown my love, and we don't revisit the our intentions. Kind of like a relationship. After a while, you're like, oh, we love each other. We don't really revisit where we are and what we may
Mhm.
need to pour in each other later down the line, like as the journey
Yeah,
continues. So it's a question. That's my something to sip on that I think people should revisit at least every year when it comes to their children is, what do you want them to understand about you as their parent?
that's huge. That's huge. That just made me. I'm gonna start doing that. The way you know how what are those things called? New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know it, over the years and the social media era, they kind of tore that down out of people's brains. I don't look at it the exact same way, but I always do write down goals that I want to have and things I want to do for the year.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to call it a New Year's resolution, you can call it that or whatever you want to call it. But I still every at the beginning of every year, I will do that. Oh, why don't you just do it now, not wait for the beginning of the year? Because the week always starts on Sunday. Work always is going to be Monday through Friday. You always want to start on a clean slate. So regardless of how you want to do it, I can start it now if I want to. But it is something different about starting the year or starting the week, starting the day
Mm-hmm.
with something outlined. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna add that to my list. I'm gonna try to write down more of what we spoke about, and I want to revisit that year to year because I do believe yes that's gonna evolve the more time goes on. Because I know the things I was thinking about after she turned one was one, and then when she turned two was a whole different
Mm-hmm.
phase of things I was going through, and then three, and then now she just turned four. So yeah, that's gonna evolve every single year. Yes, that was a good one. I like that. I'm adding that.
Thank you. It's changing for me every year. So I was like, now that I have this platform, I want to share that with people because it really does keep me
Absolutely.
intentional and connected with her. And that's what we want the most. The best way that we could protect our children is to have a connection, a real connection.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, oh my gosh, this was so good. And I knew this was going to be seamless. I knew it. But before we
Hmm.
go, we have this segment called Something to Sip On. So let me introduce our last segment of the show, Something to Sip On.
So since I've been on this parent journey for 4 years now, right? And I've gotten to see things in different lights. I've seen parenthood from before my I became a parent, I only seen parenting from my parents. I never really fully looked at other people's parenting kids. But when I
Mm-hmm.
had a kid, I started looking at everything. And I started seeing how everything stems from somewhere in the family, And so there's a lot of stuff that comes with parenting that you just can't prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
And parenting is something that, yes, you want to hope for the best when you get into it. Like you want to have everything in line, you want to have your financials right, you want to be in the right headspace, but that's not always the case. I believe that I believe that there can be someone who is financially challenged, who can give the world to their kid emotionally, and I believe there's a family who has everything financially but doesn't have anything to give emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have a balance between the two, um, and it's going to be hard for all the soon to be parents, fathers specifically. It's going to be hard. The system is especially well. Yeah, I co-parent with my daughter and her mother. So they call it a co-parent, even though I'm a parent. Just call it a parent, but that's what they call it. So for people who are going to be like in my shoes, it's challenging, it's hard. Um, Parenting, if you have the opportunity to be with someone and create a child, the hopes are always to grow that as a unit. That is the way you would always want it to be, but doesn't always work like that. A lot of people can attest to that, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, even from a father, even if you are not together with that person that you made a child with, you still have an obligation that you need to stand by. So I feel like some fathers or dads or whatever you want to call them, just because they break up, they feel like they don't have to do as much anymore. I see a lot of mothers on their own right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dad's just out there doing what they want. They're living their life. They check in on the kid when they want, and then they go and keep living their life. And then the mothers are stuck to deal with everything. And so it, the men are seen to be the breadwinners. They're the ones who's be making the money and taking care of everything. And so sometimes I feel like it's so much on our plate. Like we feel like we can't give everything to our child if we're not out and about working all the time. But I think we still need to try to find that balance. You know what I mean? Parenting requires a lot of being present.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be present. You need to you need to put food on the table, but being present more than anything. And it can't be, when it comes to being a parent, it's not always about providing what you can. Like I said, you can give your kid everything they wanted, the nicest bike, all the roadblock money or whatever you call those things in Fortnite,
Roblox.
all those things. You can give your kid everything, but if you're not there emotionally and just being there present, your kid might not notice it when they're young because they're just taking it in. But as time goes on, they're going to start to notice a lot of what wasn't there. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're working all the time and if you're working crazy just trying to get the money right and provide for a future, which is okay, and you're missing out on these recitals, these baseball games, basketball games, and you're missing out. As your kid gets older, they're gonna start to look around. They're celebrating at the end of a game. Their friends
Mm-hmm.
are going off into their parents' arms, and they start looking around. They're still excited, but they're like, "Wait, you know, where's my dad? Where's my mom?" I'm speaking to dads. Like, where's my dad?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's times where you'll see. I seen a video the other day on Instagram of a dad getting into it with his kid, and he was like, "Do you know how hard I work for you? I'm working 80 hours a week just to put food on the table and make sure that your future's good. That's You want that. We applaud you for that. But if you can't be there when your kid needs it the most, it's gonna backfire on you every single time. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing I want to give my child is trauma, trauma from me not being present. You know what I mean? I don't want I don't want her to have that type of trauma. She's gonna have some trauma from something. I don't want it to be from me not attempting to be there or to give her what she needs. I may not be able to give her $1 million tomorrow, but I can give her my time. I can give her my love. You know what I mean? So there's certain things in when you become a parent that you have to put at the forefront. You still need to live your life and be happy. You can't give well, let me tread lightly. Every parent wants to give a lot of, I was willing to give my life up when my child was born. When I knew I was having a baby, I was ready to give up my personal life. I was never, big on going out, but I was ready to give everything up just to make sure that she was okay. But then you can lose yourself like that. And
Mm-hmm.
if my child just grows up seeing me miserable by myself and unhappy, that's gonna start to rub off on her. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, um, I think I just went like in a million different ways just now, but that's a few different cups you can sip on.
Mm-hmm.
Parenting is the most beautiful thing you can ever deal with. It'll change your life for the better. It'll give you the best and worst times all in the same bunch. It's crazy, but it's exciting. And just as exciting it is to see him grow, as the one thing you really don't want him to do is keep growing up too fast. So yeah, that's what
Yes.
I have.
Yes. That's a lot of tea for the pantry for us. Balance is key. It is
Balance.
key. Balance, and there are just so many things. Money money buys a lot of necessary things, but there are so many other necessary things that money can never buy. So I think that you spoke on that very well. It is important to find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
Yes,
so
it
much for
is.
being part of Verbal Tea. I'm so glad to have you on as one of the first supporters, as someone who took my writing journey personally, took it to a whole nother level. It's just like a full circle moment to have you on here. Before you go, I do want you to let the audience know where they can find you or where you want to be found.
Got you. So you can find me on my Instagram. It's that creative RC, or you can find me on my real estate page, which is that realtor RC. Um, yeah, that's usually where I'm at the most. Um, you can tap in with me if you want to see more about real estate. I'm in the real estate construction market, so if you want to see, how these houses are built from the ground up, you can see a little bit more on that. You can follow me there if you just want to get some daily motivation. I'm big on motivation,
Hmm.
motivating people to do better, be better. You'll see some not parenting, but a lot of parent stuff, stuff that parents will appreciate. Yeah, just see some of my creativeness. You can see it on there. Again, that creative RC or that realtor RC on Instagram.
Yes. And of course, as you know, I will have that in the show notes for you guys as well, so that you guys can just copy paste or click and support him. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And you know that you can always follow Verbal Tea at Verbal Tea Time on TikTok and Instagram, or Verbal Tea on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream it. That is where you can find us.
That's
Please
right.
love on your babies, love on your fathers. Happy Father's Day, you guys. And until next week, be well.